Hello friends, I'm Larry with Ride Stand Right, and you're watching Return to Track Days. This year we've been watching the 600 novice group of OMRRA, and last round was 6. We're in round 7 this weekend with a tight championship between the two guys at the top. And we started the weekend round on Saturday with a reduction of the laps from 10 laps to 5 laps because of issues with the track conditions. So it made an interesting dynamic because we've got one guy who is typically a great starter, one guy less typically a great starter, one guy who comes back great at the end, another guy who has learned how to come back at the end, so it's gone back and forth. His starts are better, his finishes are better, makes for good competition, so we're having great fun at the end. So we went into the start of the race, and Jeff, why don't you tell me, how it went for you?
I had a great start. Was just really focused on trying to get to turn 1 before Pearce, and I did it. He came up alongside me. I watched him. Let off the throttle, hit the brakes, and I said, "That's my turn." And I entered turn 1 right before him, and I just focused on trying to stay in front.
So throughout the race, then, were you able to then just check out and Pearce stay right behind you, or did you guys go back and forth, or at what point did you see Pearce?
It wasn't until the last lap I saw him into turn 1.
You saw Pearce into turn 1 in the last lap.
Unfortunately.
I was going to say, maybe the start of bad news for you, maybe the start of some good news for you, Pearce. So what happened? I mean, obviously, the start that you got, by the way, I'll say I was right there starting line. You guys both on this first race had good starts. Yeah. It's just the surprise was Jeff got a really good start and came right into turn 1. So you went the whole race. You're tailing him throughout the race. Did you stay tight with him, or did he have a gap on you? How did that go?
Absolutely. It was a bit tricky, and it was one of those races. Since it was 5 laps, it felt like it went by so darn fast. But I remember pretty much after the start, I was just determined to get around him, but I was trying to play it smart where I was going to set him up for the pass rather than just trying to force something. I had to plan several turns ahead what I was going to do. So I was trying to stay close to him enough that I could make that happen when I needed to. We ran into the 1000cc bike lap traffic, who was a wave start that started 30 seconds ahead of us about halfway through the race. And basically what had happened, we had talked about this after the race, was that he, once he passed the lap traffic, he was trying to slow them down so that would slow me down, but he didn't realize that I had already made the pass, so he was slowing himself down and didn't quite realize that it was just setting me up to catch up to him, and that allowed me to catch up to him on the last lap. And so I drafted him all the way down the front straight, and my bike just has that much more top end than his bike, and went right by him into turn 1. And from there, the battle wasn't over yet. Historically, he'll get me through turns 5 and 6. He just has some magic there that I don't know how to put down. Even if I just say, all right, I'm on the throttle, and don't let go through that turn, he still manages to get me into 7, and I'm always baffled by that. But this time I just managed to put down a consistent pace. That was what we were working on Friday. And for the Saturday race, that was what had happened. I just put down a consistent lap. It sounded like he was trying to catch up, but he wasn't able to do that until literally right as we were crossing the finish line. He beat me.
So how did that look? How did that look, though, you coming out of turn 9? Because I'm looking all the way down the straight, but you're on the bike, and you're on him coming out of turn 9, and you're coming into his draft. I mean,
I wasn't expecting having to be in his draft out of 9. I saw him into turn 1. I wasn't surprised that he was there. I wasn't worried that he was there because I'm pretty good on the back half of the track. But I made an error, and I just didn't get the drive out of 4 that I wanted. So he kind of gapped me on the back straight, but I was able to close back onto him into 7, and I just tried to stay close on him. I had a great drive out of 9, got in his draft, and I was like, oh, let's do this. And I pulled out of his draft, and I was just really surprised that, wow, I don't remember the checkered being that right there. And yeah, it was yeah. Somebody moved it. I swear.
I think he wanted another 10 feet.
Yeah, he did. Another 10 feet, he would have had it.
So it was a fun race, and it was great racing with Pearce.
It was something that I know watching it, we were all pumped about it. But you're the guy that had the best seat from where you were. You got to see the checker.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wasn't even sure. I thought it was. Yeah, I just had this feeling. I have a Toevs radar. I can feel when he's behind me, and it might just be that I always assume that if he's not in front of me, he's behind me. But I knew he was close, and especially when I didn't see him out of 7, I said, oh, he's coming out of 9. And my goal was out of turn 9 was just whether I thought I had traction or not was just roll back on the throttle. And I think that bought me that, what was it, 2/100ths of a second.
So that's how. So we end the Saturday race. Then you're first, you're second. What does that do for the points then? There was obviously a shift.
This leaves that left me up 1 point in the championship. So he was 4 points ahead. The difference between first and second is 5 points. So that leaves me 1 point up. So going into Sunday's the make it or break it. I have to beat him in order to secure the championship. He just has to not lose to me.